The Urantia book, Section 3, The History of Urantia, paper 108, Mission and Ministry of Thought Adjusters. The mission of the thought adjusters to the human races is to represent, to be the universal father to the mortal creatures of time and space. That is the fundamental work of the divine gifts. Their mission is also that of elevating the mortal minds and of translating the immortal souls of men up to the divine heights and spiritual levels of paradise perfection, and in the experience of thus transforming the human nature of the temporal creature into the divine nature of the eternal finaliter. The adjusters bring into existence a unique type of being, a being consisting in the eternal union of the perfect adjuster and a perfected creature which it would be impossible to duplicate by any other universe technique. So nothing in the entire universe can substitute for the fact of experience on non-existential levels. The infinite God is, as always, replete and complete, infinitely inclusive of all things except evil and creature experience. God cannot do wrong. He is infallible. God cannot experientially know what he has never personally experienced. God's preknowledge is existential. Therefore, thus the Spirit of the Father descends from paradise to participate with finite mortals in every bona fide experience of the ascending career. It is only by such a method that the existential God could become in truth and in fact man's experiential father. The infinity of the eternal God encompasses the potential for finite experience, which indeed becomes actual in the ministry of the adjuster, fragments that actually share the life vicissitude experiences of human beings. One selection and assignment. Okay. When adjusters are dispatched for mortal service from the Vinnington, they are identical in the endowment of existential divinity, but they vary in experiential qualities proportional to previous contact in and with evolutionary creatures. We cannot explain the basis of adjuster assignment, but we can conjecture that these divine gifts are bestowed in accordance with some wise and efficient policy of eternal fitness of adaptation to the indwelt personality. We do observe that the more experienced adjuster is often the indweller of the higher type of human mind. Human inheritance must therefore be a considerable factor in determining selection and assignment. Although we do not definitely know, we firmly believe that all thought adjusters are volunteers. But before ever they volunteer, they are in possession of full data respecting the candidate for indwelling. The seraphic drafts of ancestry and projected patterns of life conduct are transmitted via paradise to the reserve corps of adjusters on the Vinnington by the reflectivity technique, extending inward from the capitals of the local universes to the headquarters of the super universes. And this forecast covers not only the hereditary antecedents of the mortal candidate, but also the estimate of probable intellectual endowment and spiritual capacity. The adjusters thus volunteer to indwell minds of whose intimate natures they have been fully apprised. The voluntary adjuster is particularly interested in three qualifications of the human candidate. One is intellectual capacity. Is the mind normal? What is the intellectual potential? The intelligence capacity. Can the individual develop into a bona fide will creature? Will wisdom have an opportunity to function? 2. Spiritual perceptions, the prospects of referential development, the birth and growth of the religious nature. What is the potential of soul, the probable spiritual capacity of receptivity? 3. Combined intellectual and spiritual powers, the degree to which these two endowments may possibly be associated, combined so as to produce strength of human character and contribute to the certain evolution of an immortal soul of survival value. When once the adjusters are actually dispatched from the Vinnington, practically no time intervenes between that moment and the hour of their appearance in the minds of their chosen subjects. The average transit time of an adjuster from the Vinnington to Urantia is 117 hours, 42 minutes and 7 seconds. Virtually all of this time is occupied with registration on Uversa. 2. Prerequisites of adjuster indwelling. Let's see. Though the adjusters volunteer for service as soon as the personality forecasts have been relayed to the Vinnington, they are not actually assigned until the human subjects make their first moral personality decision, which is actually starting around the age of 5 years. The first moral choice of the human child is automatically indicated in the 7th mind adjutant and registers instantly by way of the local universe creative spirit, the divine minister, over the universal mind gravity circuit of the conjoined actor, which is the infinite spirit, in the presence of the master spirit of super universe jurisdiction, who forthwith dispatches this intelligence to the Vinnington. Adjuster reach their human subjects on Urantia on the average just prior to the 6th birthday. In the present generation, it is running 5 years, 10 months and 4 days. That is on the 2,134th day of terrestrial life. Okay. All right. The assignment of personal seraphic guardians. If a mortal has not been previously indwelled by an adjuster, the assignment of a personal guardian brings the adjuster forward. There exists some very definite but unknown relation between the ministry of adjusters and the ministry of personal seraphic guardians. And then 2, the attainment of the third circle of intellectual achievement and spiritual attainment. I have observed adjusters arrive immortal minds upon the conquest of the third circle, even before such an accomplishment could be signalized to the local universe personalities concerned with such matters. And then upon the making of a supreme decision of unusual spiritual import, such human behavior in a personal planetary crisis usually is attended by immediate arrival of the waiting adjuster. The spirit of brotherhood, regardless of the attainment of the psychic circles and assignment of personal guardians, in the absence of anything resembling a crisis decision, when an evolving mortal becomes dominated by the love of his fellows and consecrated to unselfish ministry to his brethren in the flesh, the waiting adjuster unvaryingly descends to indwell the mind of such a mortal ministry. And I am numbering, and I'm actually speaking about the 6 points of adjuster indwelling. Number 5 is declaration of intention to do the will of God. We observe that many mortals on the worlds of space may be apparently in readiness to receive adjusters, and yet the monitors do not appear. We go on watching such creatures as they live from day to day, and presently they quietly, almost unconsciously, arrive at the decision to begin the pursuit of the doing of the will of the Father in heaven. And when we observe the immediate dispatch of the thought adjusters, and then we observe the immediate dispatch of the thought adjusters. And then point 6, influence of the Supreme Being on worlds where the adjusters do not fuse with the evolving souls of the mortal inhabitants. We observe adjusters sometimes bestowed in response to influences which are wholly beyond our comprehension. We conjecture that such bestowals are determined by some cosmic reflection and reflex action originating in the Supreme Being. As to why these adjusters cannot or do not fuse with these certain types of evolving mortal minds, we do not know. Such transactions have never been revealed to us. And then point 3, organization and administration. As far as we know, adjusters are organized as an independent working unit in the universe of universes and are apparently administered directly from the Winnington. They are uniform throughout the 7 super-universes, all local universes being served by identical types of thought adjusters. We do know from observation that there are numerous series of adjusters involving a serial organization that extends through races over dispensations and to worlds, systems and universes. It is, however, exceedingly difficult to keep track of these divine gifts, since they function interchangeably throughout the grand universe. Adjusters are of complete records outside of the Finnington only on the headquarters of the 7 super universes. The number and order of each adjuster indwelling each ascending creature are reported out by the Paradise authorities to the headquarters of the super universe, and from there are communicated to the headquarters of the local universe concerned and relate to the spectacular planet involved. But the local universe records do not disclose the full number of the thought adjusters. The Nebadon records contain only the local universe assignment numbers as designated by the representatives of the Ancients of Days. The real significance of the adjuster's complete number is known only on the Finnington. Human subjects are often known by the numbers of their adjusters. Mortals do not receive real universe names until after adjuster fusion, which union is is signalized by the bestowal of the new name upon the new creature by the Destiny Guardian. Though we have the records of thought adjusters in Orphanton, and though we have absolutely no authority over them or administrative connection with them, we firmly believe that there is a very close administrative connection between the individual worlds of the local universes and the central lodgement of the divine gifts on the Winnington. Point 4. Relation to other spiritual influences. Apart from possible coordination with other deity fragments, the adjusters are quite alone in their sphere of activity in the mortal mind. The mystery monitors eloquently bespeak the fact that though the Father may have apparently resigned the exercise of all direct personal power and authority throughout the grand universe, notwithstanding this act of abnegation in behalf of the Supreme Creator, children of the Paradise deities, the Father has certainly reserved to himself the unchallengeable right to be present in the minds and souls of his evolving creatures, to the end that he may so act as to draw all creation to himself, coordinately with the spiritual gravity of the Paradise Sons. Said your Paradise Bestowal Son, Michael, whom we better know as Jesus of Nazareth, when he was on Urantia, if I am lifted up, will draw all men. This spiritual drawing power of the paradise sons and their creative associates we recognize and understand, but we do not so fully comprehend the methods of the all-wise Father's functioning in and through these mystery monitors or thought adjusters that live and work so valiantly within the human mind. Thought adjusters appear to come and go quite independent of any and all other spiritual presence. They seem to function in accordance with universal laws, quite apart from those which govern and control the performances of all other spirit influences. But regardless of such apparent independence, a long-range observation unquestionably discloses that they function in the human mind in perfect synchrony and coordination with all other spirit ministries, including adjutant mind spirits, Holy Spirit, and the Spirit of Truth, and other influences. When a world is isolated by rebellion, when a planet is cut off from all outside encircuited communication, as was Urantia after the Caligastya upheaval, aside from personal messengers, there remains one probability of direct interplanetary or universe communication, and that is through the liaison of the adjusters of the spheres. No matter what happens on a world or in a universe, the adjusters are never directly concerned. The isolation of a planet in no way affects the adjusters and their ability to communicate with any part of the local universe. Super universe or the central universe, and this is the reserve core of destiny, are so frequently made on quarantined worlds. We are cognizant of many spirit phenomena in the far-flung universe, which we are at a loss fully to understand. We are not yet masters of all that is transpiring, and with we is being mentioned here the solitary messengers. I believe that much of this inscrutable work is wrought by the gravity messengers and certain types of mystery monitors or thought adjusters. I do not believe that adjusters are devoted solely to the remaking of mortal minds. I am persuaded that the personalized thought adjusters and other orders of unrevealed pre-personal spirits are representative of the Universal Father's direct and unexplained contact with the creatures of the realms. And then we have point 5, the adjuster's mission. Okay. Your adjuster is the potential of your new and next order of existence, the advance bestowal of your eternal sonship with God. By and with the consent of your will, the adjuster has the power to subject the creature trends of the material mind to the transforming actions of the motivations and purposes of the emerging morontial soul. Um, okay. The mystery monitors are not thought helpers, they are thought adjusters. They labor with the material mind for the purpose of constructing by adjustment and spiritualization a new mind for the new worlds and the new name of your future career. Their mission chiefly concerns the future life. Not this life, they are called heavenly helpers, not earthly helpers. They are not interested in making the mortal career easy, rather are they concerned in making your life reasonably difficult and rugged, so that decisions will be stimulated and multiplied. The presence of a great thought adjuster does not bestow ease of living and freedom from strenuous thinking, but such a divine gift should confer a sublime peace of mind and a superb tranquility of spirit. Your transient and ever-changing emotions of joy and sorrow are in the main purely human and material reactions to your internal psychic climate and to your external material environment. Do not therefore look to the adjuster for selfish consolation and mortal comfort. It is the business of the adjuster to prepare you for the eternal adventure to assure your survival. It is not the mission of the thought adjusters to smooth your ruffled feelings or to minister to your injured pride. No, that is all something that we ourselves need to overcome. They can only help us if we so long to communicate with them and ask their wisdom in how to overcome things. It is the preparation of your soul for the long ascending career that engages the attention and occupies the time of the adjuster. The thought adjusters would like to change your feelings of fear to convictions of love and confidence, but they cannot mechanically and arbitrarily do such things. That is your task. Of course they can't, because otherwise they take some learning process away from us, and this is needed. We need to do this ourselves so that we build up soul growth and soul character. In executing those decisions which deliver you from the fetters of fear, you literally supply the psychic fulcrum on which the adjuster may subsequently apply a spiritual lever of uplifting and advancing illumination. When it comes to the sharp and well-defined conflicts between the higher and lower tendencies of the races, between what really is right or wrong, not merely what you may call right and wrong. You can depend upon it that the adjuster will always participate in some definite and active manner in such experiences. The fact that such adjuster activities may be unconscious to the human partner does not in the least detract from its value and reality. If you have a personal guardian of destiny and should fail, of survival that guardian angel must adjudicate in order to receive vindication as to the faithful execution of her trust. But thought adjusters are not thus subjected to examination when their subjects fail to survive. We all know that while an angel might possibly fall short of the perfection of ministry, thought adjusters work in a manner of paradise perfection. Their ministry is characterized by a flawless technique which is beyond the personality of criticism by any being outside of divinity. You have perfect guides, therefore is the goal of perfection certainly attainable. And then we go to the last point, that is number 6, God in man. The thought adjusters are undoubtedly the bestowal of the universal Father, the reflection of the image of the one true living God abroad in the universe. A great teacher once admonished men that they should be renewed in the spirit of their minds, that they become new men who, like God, are created in righteousness and in the completion of truth. The thought adjuster is the mark of divinity. The presence of the living God, the image of the living God, does not refer to physical likeness, nor presence of, nor to the circumscribed limitations of material creature endowment, but rather to the gift of the spirit presence of the universal Father in the supernal bestowal of the thought adjusters upon the humble creatures of the universe. The adjuster is the wellspring of spiritual attainment and the hope of divine character within you. He is the power, privilege, and possibility of survival, which so fully and forever distinguishes you from mere animal creatures. He is the higher and truly internal spiritual stimulus of thought, in contrast with the external and physical stimulus, which reaches the mind over the nerve energy mechanism of the material body. The faithful custodians of the future career unfailingly duplicate every mental creation with a spiritual counterpart. They are thus slowly and surely recreating you as you really are. Only spiritually for resurrection on the survival worlds, and all of these exquisite spirit recreations are being preserved in the emerging reality of your evolving and immortal soul, your Morantia self. These realities are actually there, notwithstanding that the adjuster is seldom able to exalt these duplicate creations sufficiently to exhibit them to the light of consciousness. Okay. And as you are the human parent, so is the adjuster the divine parent of the real you, your higher and advancing self, your better morantial and future spiritual self. And it is this evolving morantial soul that the judges and censors discern when they decree your survival and pass you upward to new worlds. And never-ending existence in eternal liaison with your faithful partner, God the Adjuster. The Adjusters are the eternal ancestors, the divine originals of your evolving immortal souls. They are the unceasing urge that leads man to attempt the mastery of the material and present existence in the light of the spiritual and future career. The thought adjusters are the prisoners of undying hope, the founts of everlasting progression, and how they do enjoy communicating with their subjects in more or less direct channels. How they rejoice when they can dispense with symbols and other methods of indirection and flash their messages straight to the intellects of their human partners. You humans have begun an endless unfolding of an almost infinite panorama, a limitless expanding of never-ending, ever-widening spheres of opportunity for accelerating surface, matchless adventures, sublime uncertainty, and boundless attainments. When the clouds gather overhead, your faith should accept the fact of the presence of the indwelling adjuster, and thus you should be able to look beyond the mists of mortal uncertainty into the clear shining of the sun of eternal righteousness. On the beckoning heights of the mentioned worlds of Satania. And with this said, I have come to the end of reading paper 108. And again, this paper has been presented to us by a solitary messenger of Orvanten. And thank you so much, solitary messenger of Orvanten, for giving us in-depth information about the mission and ministry of the Thought Adjusters. And I want to thank you all for listening to this audio video. And God bless you.